Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you coming this evening. It is, what is it, September 26th, I think, of 2024. And this is our fourth Homebuyer Club of this year. And when we originally came up with this idea, we kind of thought it was best to try to meet people face to face or individually, kind of talk about their situations and offer up some supportive classes from time to time to kind of fill in with some additional information. So that's kind of how the origin of the Homebuyer Club started. COVID had a great deal of it, a lot of influence in how we were doing it. We're just kind of here uh, to support you on your mission, on your goal to being a homeowner. And I always picture that I want each and every one of you to know that you're going to be approved. I picture a world where we don't question whether a bank or a mortgage company or lender is going to give us the money. I want to picture an area where we know that we are strong. We know that we are prepared, and they have nothing other than to do than to just approve us. So that's kind of the place that I've kind of pictured. So welcome, thank you for coming. Got a few questions that were sent in earlier. We'll get to those, and we have a lot of time for extra questions if something would come up through this and you wanted to ask a question. So, looking back. Yep. So looking back over the past, the first three of this year, back in February, we talked with Ted and Jake at Huntington Bank. They shared with us one of their programs, which assisted with paying for some of those closing costs, trying to make it cost efficient. They also shared some great information on how to be prepared. So if you haven't seen that one back in February, go take a look at it. Some good information in there from Ted and Jake there at Huntington. In I think March, Jennifer Quattrone from Fairway Independent Mortgage talked to us a lot about the PHFA K-FIT program. Jennifer is one of those mortgage lenders that I deal with. She sends me her clients that are required to have housing counseling before the closing. So one of the things PHFA requires in a couple instances is that they have housing counseling before closing. So perfect kind of marriage. She sends me people who are getting ready to close, and we talk about some of those important documents that they're getting ready to sign. So I think for each of us, we're talking about getting the home loan. This kind of session kind of covers what are you signing, why you're signing, and what's its purpose. And then lastly, I think in May, I think if my notes are right, Ashley Gessler from Goosehead Insurance talked to us about insurances and some of the changes that are going on in that marketplace and some of the new requirements and some of the increases she's seen in costs. So each of those are available for you to go back and if you have 30 minutes to roll through something, each of those are available online for you to access and catch up on some of that information if you haven't seen it. So we'll be doing some new ones in the new year. I'm going to try to think of some new ideas, some different things to talk about as people are getting ready for home buying. But this is fall. This is my favorite time of year as a housing counselor. That's crazy. But I think now's the time that people can prepare. And there's some important things that happen this time of year or the next 6 or 7 months. I think that really can help catapult someone into home ownership, into reaching their goal that they have of being a homeowner. So I think the first big thing I think of is you have time, right? We have time to put our plans in place. We have time to work on those things that we know we need to work on and actually make them come to fruition. So, this is saying 6 to 12 months, start saving for your down payment. Clearly that's something you're all are working on. Get a broad picture of your financial situation by checking your credit report and score. So I think for each of us here, we've looked at that. We've looked at some of those things on our credit reports. We've kind of identified some of those things that maybe we need to take care of, or if everything's taken care of, how to make it just a little bit better. Always trying to get just a little bit better. If you're 660, we want to get it to 662. We want to get to 670. We want to keep moving it up further and further. So we have time to make those things happen. And with credit, it does take some time to see some changes in that. So we have time, in the next 6 or 12 months to kind of get those things in place as we're getting closer to that spring market of when we historically look for homes. In that 3 to 5 months, which is coming up, it's reminding us to avoid taking out new loans. No major changes like switching jobs. For some of us, stability is what we're needing in our formula to be a homeowner. Time on the job to show that we can maintain a job and use that job to help move things along. Looking at debt to income, so using this immediate 3 to 5 month time period to to look at, should I pay down some of my credit card debt? Is my card near paid off? Can I get some of these things taken care of to kind of streamline and make this easy when I pull the trigger, when I'm ready to go and purchase a home? So time to let that work. And then the immediate part right before, so maybe in the new year, as we turn the calendar, start thinking about gathering that paperwork. I think Ted and Jake alluded to that being organized does you a great service as far as getting approved for a home loan, to making sure that you know how to access your pay stubs, you know how to get your bank statements and federal tax returns. So, I love this time of year because it allows for this plan to work. So, and then some of those tidbits I pulled off of bankrate.com. So, an article. So, the second thing I think about is, we can plan for the holidays. So I was working on my presentation and I found this. Let's see if we can get that to come up. And this is ironically from Fairway Independent, and that's where Jennifer's from. And it's talking about how to save during the holidays, how to use the holiday time to move yourself closer to being a homeowner. And let's face it, it's tough. We want to spoil our children, we want to spoil our family, want to enjoy fancy things, but maybe this year is different. Maybe this year we use that time and that time period to think differently and maybe do less gift giving and more experience things, or more baking cookies, or more going to see light shows, or more things that are maybe a little bit more cost efficient for that long-term goal. As a father, children, how many things do we buy? And 30 days later, they're not even being played with. So just keeping that in mind. And it gives you some great tips. And then part of the, you can certainly pull this website up, some great tips on what to do. How to do it. I think making a budget is certainly, we make a budget for our spending. We can make a specific budget for the holidays and what you plan on spending for that period of time. And I think the gentleman here uses, strategize, using strategy to get you to your goal, and to not spend without some structure in place. So, create dedicating savings for your house. Don't spend the year-end bonus on holidays. Reduce your gift giving list. So maybe tighten it up this year. Let people know, hey, we're trying to buy a home. We're being conscientious or intentional with our finances this go around. And strategic wish list. I'm not one for asking others to, a wedding registry or help me buy my home, but maybe you are, and that's, everyone's got a different style. So and then track your spending. Certainly a big section in there about watching what you're spending, keeping an account, and using that as you go through this time period. So yeah, so strategizing about the holidays. So planning how much you spend with the holidays coming up for you. So that's it. Plan for the holidays. That was the second reason why I love this time of year. So get that in place now so that there's no surprises come December. Next slide. So another reason why I love this time of year is, get a part-time job. Indeed, here was showing me part-time jobs the other day. There's 5,000. Now I don't know if 5,000 of those are perfect for you, but this is a great time to go into retail. Everyone's looking to hire on people during the holiday season, and maybe there's a place near you. I wouldn't want to drive across town. I'd want to be efficient and not spend money on gas or not spend money or time driving far away for a part-time job. So make it strategic. One, it's short term. We know it's going to be short. Hopefully it's fun. So maybe it's different from what you do in your day-to-day job. Maybe it's making pizzas or as I said, in retail or wrapping presents or whatever, something fun. It helps you focus. It helps you focus that I'm going to this job because I'm after something. I'm after a home, and I'm gonna make some short-term sacrifice here to reach that goal. I'm dedicated and motivated to help reach that goal. A lot of times that extra money can help move that needle, so it can help plump up that savings that you might need. It might help pay down some of that debt load, to try to get that debt to income down. It might help clear some collections to help with the credit score. So there's a lot of different things that additional injection of money can do to help you move closer to your goal of home ownership. And the last one I put on there is you're going to get fired. I mean, working a part-time job is not easy. It's not easy on your family. It's not easy on you. It's sometimes not easy on your main employer. We don't want to jeopardize that. But knowing that it's a short-term commitment, we know that usually in January, the manager is going to come around and say, we're cutting back on staff and, you part-timers are the first ones to go. Well, that's fine. We know that that's going to happen. It doesn't hurt our feelings. We needed that time to help us and it worked to help us. But we know that we're not going to do this a long duration. This is just something to help, drive that goal, get that goal closer to where we want to be. So yeah, that's the third reason why I love this time of year, is because it's pretty easy to find a part-time job. Planning your tax refund. There's a lot of little print here. One of the things I see year in and year out is people paying tax preparation companies to do their taxes. Please don't do that. For most of us, our tax returns are very simple. We have one job. We're not talking about stock earnings. We're not talking about self-employment. Not much of it's very, very easy. If you can't do it yourself, there's some options here for some free assistance through volunteer income tax assistance sites, VITA sites. I know in Turtle Creek they have some sites, and they have some sites all scattered around the area. So, and I think for many people we fit the mold. Their income's under 54, you're 60 or older, or you may be a veteran. That's another reason. But those VITA sites are there to help you file your taxes for free. They're not tax professionals, but they are people that have been trained in how to do taxes. And if the person you're facing doesn't have the skills in something special about your tax return, they can find someone within the building that might have it. So you get some good assistance that way. There's some software, if your income's a little higher, if you're 66,000 or less, there's some free IRS software to help you file your taxes. So I would encourage you to if you can't do it yourself, then look at one of these two options and see if maybe there's a way to not pay someone to do it on your behalf. And the second part is I wouldn't pay some to get that early loan. Sometimes that's $300 or $400 or $500. For many of us, that $300 or $400 or $500 is meaningful. It could help us towards our goal of buying a home. So that early cash loan, from my wife and I, when we file a tax return, it's just a matter of weeks. Often that the money comes back to our account with direct deposit. So it's not a great deal of time as it had been many, many years ago, where you wait for that check. It's not like that any longer. So consider getting a direct deposit and foregoing that temporary loan that you're going to pay for to get that money in a hurry. So, and I picture that if you're serious about being a homeowner, you're not desperate for that money to come fast. You don't need that immediate loan. If you're strong, if you're working on credit, if you're already working on savings, you are not desperate to pay someone to get that money. That you would rather get that money to continue to help you be strong as you're working towards your purchase of your home. So plan your refund. Um, Basic tips, estimate, maybe use past experience. If you're kind of doing the same thing, if you're kind of putting the same hours, kind of get a rough idea of what you might be getting back. This is also kind of a good time to check your withholdings here in the last quarter and make sure that you're not under contributing. Um, the one of the hurdles that we want to avoid is the fact that you would have to pay taxes. So just double check your withholding, make sure it's typical as what you would expect, and there is still some time to make some changes if you need to ramp that up a little bit further. Um, you know, taxes are complex. I mean, for many people, they look forward to getting that tax refund. Um, I would want to challenge you to maybe think next level. Um, getting that, not getting a tax refund really is the goal. So, if you normally get a tax refund of $3,600, well, that meant that the government had $300 per month of your money. So next level thinking is, how to try to get that $300 a month every month, so that you can invest it and earn interest on it, or put it into paying down your debt that you're not going to pay interest on that debt. So that's kind of a next level idea that I want you to think about. A lot of people say, well, I can't save. It's the only way to save. Well, I get that. I understand. And if that's the only way you know how to save, then um, you know keep doing that. But there's a lot of, the perfect tax return is zero. You don't pay, they don't give. That's the perfect tax return. That means you had all of your money all year long. So that's what we think about. Um, Identify, prioritize bills. We're already doing that, right? We're ramping up to be homeowners. We're already looking at that stuff. Plan for special purchases. So yeah, this falls in that category of special purchases. This is a once or twice or four times in a lifetime kind of purchase, and we're going to plan for that, and that's what we're uh, doing with this money. Um, I like the idea of if you're on your own or if you have a partner, writing down on paper what you want that money to do. And when that money should be accessible to you. So, if you write a little contract with yourself, a little piece of paper that says, Jonathan, this is your money saved for purchasing a home. The only time you're going to access it is if you're buying a home, or there's a medical emergency, or you need to fly to the West Coast for a funeral, or some other things that might fall into emergency basis for that money. But write yourself a contract and sign it and make it a promise that you make with yourself or with your partner on what you're going to do with that. Sometimes people need an accountability partner, so maybe a brother or sister, a parent, might be someone that you can say, look, I'm saving this for my retirement or for my purchasing a home, and here's the times that I can get it when I'm buying my home, or if there's a medical emergency. So make a plan to save, set a goal. So I'm everyone's different. Everyone has a different plan. I think looking at that tax refund, I like people to split it into thirds. Put a third aside for purchasing your home. Um, Use a third to help improve maybe your debt to income ratio by paying down credit card debt, or paying off something that's holding up your credit score from going up. So, a third of the return for that. And I think the final third should just be for fun things for your family, whether that's a Kennywood Pass, or a few weekends out of town through the summer for you to enjoy your time with your family. Maybe a pool pass, or something that you'll get more than one use out of. Library membership, trip to the zoo. So a third for the house, um, a third to help move you closer by putting yourself in a better fiscal position, and a third for family and fun, so that you can enjoy the time that you have together. So that's what's that? The fourth thing I like about this time of year. Uh, coming down to the end, but access to information. So this time of year, the mortgage and real estate market begins to slow. It's just a natural um, cycle. Spring obviously kicks off the big season into summer, but now we start to go as we go into fall and the holidays. We begin to see a slower, uh, typical activity in the real estate market. So, what I love about that is for each of you that gives you time to talk to people who maybe don't have time to talk to you when they're busy. Lenders are slower at the end of the year. They still need to be there. They still need to show up. They still need to be making contacts, but it opens up opportunity for you to maybe call someone and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to come in for 30 minutes. I just want to take a little bit of your time. I have a couple questions. One, it would give you a chance to meet a lender, see if maybe that's the person you want to work with. Maybe find out it's not the person you want to work with. That's important too. But kind of pick their brain, and I think most people would be willing to share freely during that time as far as what they can do, what's available, what trends they're seeing, strategies maybe to help you as you're putting things together in your own mind for when you're ready to buy your home. Spring and summer, there's just no time to talk with people. They're just trying to get to the next deal, to the next phone call, to the next appointment, and excuse me. It's just more difficult to get someone's attention during that time. But now's the time that it begins to slow down. Same thing with realtors. They're going to slow down. Maybe stopping at an open house at this time of year is better because there's less people coming through. Gives you more opportunity, more time to ask questions, more time to find out what they know or where they're working at, and maybe meet a contact that will help you as you're going to buy your home. Yeah, and the other reason why I like this time is because we're getting ready, we're positioning for that spring market. That spring market when more houses start hitting the market. This time of year, historically, most listings you're going to see in the winter are due to divorce or death or relocation. It's not a free will kind of listing your home at this time. If I told my house that, or if I told my wife that we were going to list our house during the holidays, she would kill me. So it's not the typical time that people are going to put their homes up for sale. It's a time for family. Nobody likes to move in the cold weather. It's just not the best time to be doing those things. So we're seeing the listings that do come up are typically going to be just, I'm not going to say distress, but death, divorce, relocation, something really happening with someone's finances are going to be the listings that you see. In the spring is when we kick off seeing more and more listings. That March, April, May is when we begin to see more listings come on the market, and just typical of what we see year in and year out. There is a program that opens up in the springtime called First Front Door. First Front Door has been a program that's been around for years, and it's a matching program. It's a program where for every dollar you put in, they'll give you a certain amount. Historically, it's been like $5,000, but last year they upped it to, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $15,000 that they were willing to give people. That money ran out almost within a couple of days. So, but someone got it. Someone was prepared. Someone was ready at that moment and got that assistance, and that's a lot of money. That means a lot for people to get that kind of assistance to buy your home. So First Front Door comes out once the funds are used up, then it goes away. And this past year in 2024, it went away, as I said, in a matter of days. It wasn't available very long. So, but to learn about that, look at the website, First Front Door. It's from the Federal Home Loan Bank Board, and it gives you a list of participating lenders. So maybe, during this period, you find one of those participating lenders and ask them if you can sit down and talk to them about how their process worked and how they saw, how did people successfully get that money and what was their experience with that, so that you can begin to be able to plan to maybe reach or get that kind of assistance in your own home. Yeah, so we got through all those. We did get a couple questions that came in earlier. And the first one that I got was, what's the best way to save to purchase a home? So, and I think that's a great question, because for everyone, it's going to be a little different. Every family, every situation's a little different. It's just a matter of you trying to find the way that works for you. And I've always talked about, I like to save personally in an account that's not accessible. It's not my regular everyday bank account. The reason why I do that is because I want to make it difficult for me to get that money. I can put that money in there, but then I'm often tempted to go and get that money back out. So I put it in an inconvenient bank. It's only got a couple branches. It's not anywhere near where I work or where I live. If I'm going to that bank, I have to I have to plan basically to go and get that money. So maybe something like that for you. But CDs, oftentimes, small 3-month CDs, 1-month CDs, are a little bit less accessible, a little bit harder to cash out. And so I think those are good vehicles to save money. So I hope that answers that question. Um, Someone also wrote in, how many open houses should I visit? And that's another great question. I'm a big believer in, during this time that we're planning, during this time that we are preparing to be homeowners, to definitely go to open houses. And I think the answer for that is as many as as many as you feel necessary. And, when I want people to go to open houses, normally they're not quite ready, but I want them to keep that fire burning. I want them to stay interested. I want them to um, see what the real estate market is like in the area that they want to be, and to practice that activity of going through a home and looking at it with a home inspection kind of glasses on, looking at roofs, looking at electric panels, looking at, does the water appear to flow away from the home, or does it appear to flow into the home? Is there water damage in the basement that I can see? So, using that time to practice that open house, because those skills that you learn during this planning time, you'll definitely be able to put to use when it is your time to purchase your home. You meet some realtors. That's always great. You can meet some realtors along the way. Sometimes they have some great information that they share about maybe listings that they know or things that they're seeing in the marketplace, which I think is certainly helpful to add to your strategy, to add to your knowledge base of knowledge. So how many should I think more than six, I think is a good start to kind of get the feel of what that looks like, so that when you're ready, you're not nervous, you're well prepared, um, what you're going to do as you're looking for your different properties. So that's kind of what I had in mind for this evening. My favorite time of year is allows us to plan. It allows us to secure a part-time job to help us move that needle. We can plan holidays, we can plan tax refunds. We can use that time to access information from professionals in the industry. So we want to do that. And gives us time to check out different homes. Things in the market, we're hearing that the Fed is lowering the interest rate. And remember that is not directly tied to home mortgage rates. That's probably more directly tied to credit cards and car loans, things of a shorter duration, but it certainly has an influence on mortgage rates. And we have seen some of those rates coming down. Um, a lot of those changes in the mortgage industry happened prior to that announcement in the Federal Reserve lowering the rate. So that's already taking place. So that's great news. We're seeing maybe at the beginning of the year we were talking 7%. I think now in the middle of the year or towards the end of the year we're talking 6.5, 6.25. We're still seeing some good rates out there. PHFA continues to offer the K-Fit, which is that closing cost assistance, which will help inject 6% of the purchase price into your closing costs to help you. And that's the one that requires the 660 credit score. So it requires a little bit better credit score, not outrageously high, but 660, pretty solid credit score to access that PHFA K-Fit funds. We're also seeing some good news coming out of the real estate listings. There's more listings here as we close into early fall, which is good news for buyers. As there's less homes for sale, there's more competition. More competition is going to drive up the price. So raising those interest rates helped possibly get exactly what we were looking for, which is to cool off the real estate market, to allow homes to sit on the market a little bit longer, so that people can make their offer and not compete against 7 other people when they're going to buy a home. So the real estate front seems good. There's some new rules, of course, if you've been following anything in the real estate world, the realtors. There's some new rules that have gone into effect, and it's clear, but it's not crystal clear on how that's playing out. But you should know that as you're out looking for homes, your realtor may ask you to sign a contract, and they should, ask you to sign a contract before they show you a property. And it's part of their rules that they have to do that. So, and a lot of it centers around how they're compensated. So you'd want to ask them some great questions about that. It's not clear. They're not able to say whether the seller is willing to pay the buyer's agent commission. It can be written into the contract. So when you write a contract, you can ask for that to be done. You don't know if that is, if the seller has already considered that or not. I'm sure that those conversations are happening when a listing agent takes a home onto market. But those are some of the new things that are a little bit not quite settled. I mean, they're pretty clear, but not quite clear. And in some instances, if the seller does not want to pay that buyer's agent commission, then that might be an expense that you would have to bear. And that is not, that was always the downside, is that for people entering into their first home, they typically don't have those kind of funds to pay a commission on top of the down payment, closing costs, and all that information. But it does make the commission negotiable. Before it was, typically 3.5%. But now you have the option to negotiate that. You could say to the buyer's agent that you'll pay 1%, that you feel the services are only worth 1%. But that is something that's yet to be vetted a little bit to see how that will all pan out. So a little bit unknown territory there on how that's all gonna work out. So so that's what I have for this evening. I appreciate each of you being here. That we will put this up on our website to be in our library of things. If anyone has any questions quickly before we go, I'm more than happy to try to cover those. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you're still motivated and working towards your goal of being a homeowner. So, Rand, any questions coming over, or should we call it an evening?
I don't see any in the chat or anything, so I think we're good.
All right. Thanks again. We appreciate you tuning in this evening. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to email me, call me, send me a text, and we'll try to work those out for you. So thank you. We'll see you soon.